Hello, and welcome to I Am Dad Podcast with your fatherhood authority, Kenneth Braswell. 30 minutes of wisdom, information, resources, and nuggets to help you on your fatherhood journey. Or maybe you're just curious and want to hear some real talk about fatherhood, family, and the minds of men. Well, guess what? We got you too. Sit back, grab your pad and pen, and maybe even bring a little something to sip on. Enjoy 30 straight minutes of fatherhood, family, and fun with the Fatherhood Authority, Kenneth Braswell.
Welcome to I Am Dad Podcast. I'm your host, Kenneth Braswell. Thank you for joining us for another episode. We're back after a small hiatus. For the first time in like 3.5 years, I took a break. Just wanted to recharge, for a month. But loaded up now. Got some great minds, some great voices, innovative thought. And so ready to plow into the rest of year 4 and cruise right into year 5. With great guests, great conversations like the one today. We're thrilled to welcome Juan Baxter. He's a relationship therapist, coach, speaker, and a proud father whose life work centers around healing, connection, and growth. A Philadelphia native, we'll talk about that, and a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. Juan brings over 2 decades of experience mentoring youth, supporting families, and helping men show up fully in their lives. Whether he's facilitating men's groups, counseling couples, or standing alongside his wife as one half of the inspirational duo, Those Baxters, Juan's voice is one of authenticity, strength, and deep emotional clarity. His commitment to fatherhood, mental health, and community wellness is both personal and transformational, and today he joins us to share that wisdom. How you doing, sir?
Hey, man, how you doing? I'm so honored to be on here, man, and so glad that I got the invite. And that was a great spiel. Hey, I don't know where you got that from.
That's because I know people. I talk about what I know, what I don't know. I'll get the bios just for that kind of, informational stuff. Like you're a Philadelphia fan, so you should be thanking me for Saquon Barkley before we start saying anything.
Yes. Hey, listen, y'all gave him up for what? Candy?
It wasn't even candy. We kept the candy, gave you y'all kept the candy, gave us rappers. We didn't even get the candy. So
but listen, we here.
Yeah, we'll see how y'all 76ers come back this year. Now that y'all got a little Paul George boost. See what that does for you. Because the East is gonna be tight this year.
Let's see how it works.
Yeah. Listen, we start our show off very simply with just a walk-in so that people kind of understand like who we talking to, particularly since this is I Am Dad Podcast and it always centers somewhat around fatherhood. Mm-hmm. We are always interested in hearing one's daddy story. So you could tell us your daddy story from your perspective of being a dad or from the perspective of your father, or you could tell us both. What's your daddy story?
So my daddy's story was I really didn't have that relationship with my father growing up. I knew who he was, but we really didn't have that father-son relationship. Like he kind of like did his own thing. You know what I'm saying? He did his own thing. He hung out a lot, and like it was kind of as I got older, I kind of pushed the relationship on him. Because I believe the Bible when it says honor thy mother and father, so that so with that I started just having a genuine relationship with him, like coming and seeing him, talking to him, calling him, because I wanted my life to be long. Then I wanted my children that I wanted them to have a father. So when I had my first son at 19, I wanted to make sure that I was in his life. So I had my first son at 19, and I had him. I was a single father from 19 to 21. Wow. So my child's mother, she was going through postpartum, and I was like, well, just give me my son. You know what I'm saying? Let me have him. So I had my sister and my mother help me raise my son those first 3 years. So I got to understand what it means staying up at night, changing Pampers, being around. And at that time, I was getting my PhD in hood. So I was running the streets, getting a PhD. I'm a West Philadelphia kid, and the projects is where I spend most of my days. Like, so it was me trying to provide. It was me trying to provide for my son by any means necessary, and I didn't have the knowledge that I had now. So when I had my second son, by my second child's mother, that was me and her. We were like oil and water. We just didn't mix. So I put myself on child support.
Wow. Okay.
When he was born. So I put myself on child support so he wouldn't have to never see me argue with his mother in public.
Mm-hmm.
I got ahead of the game. I put myself on child support. I got myself the visitation. Like we came up with a point where we dropped my son off at my mother's house, give her opportunity to leave. I come pick him up, so we would never have to cross paths. So my son would never grow up thinking that he was the problem between mommy and daddy.
How did the court respond to you doing that? Because that's not typical. I'm often curious about when a man comes in there, when a dad comes in and says, "Hey, put me on child support." Like, what was the response to that?
Oh, you know what? It was a beautiful response. You know why? Because since I put myself, they were in my corner. Like, so like every time I went down and she tried to get an increase, the court was like, well, show me why. Like, he's paying. He's been paying. He put himself on here. So show me why you need an increase. Like, and when she couldn't prove that, like, they was like, okay, but there's no need to increase. Like, he's doing everything he's supposed to do. He's spending the time with his child. He's paying the child support on time. I told her, every time I get paid, you get paid. So it's not like it's me running around trying to duck you or trying to duck child support. No. So like I can say getting ahead of it helped me so much. And I tell a lot of fathers, like, if you can get ahead of it, then you're not at the mercy of the court.
Right. But it sounds like you didn't have any fear of child support, because a lot of guys won't do that, not be so much because they want to dodge, an adversarial relationship with the mother of their children, but they're just fearful about what child support is going to do. Why didn't you have that fear?
I ain't have that fear because I ain't have no child support from my father growing up. So I saw my mother struggle, and I didn't want that for my son. Like, for certain things that I wanted, like, that's why I had to do the things that I had to do, because there's certain things that I wanted growing up that my other friends had that I wanted. And I knew my mother, like, collecting welfare couldn't get me. She had 3 children by herself and no child support. Wow. So I was like, you know what? That's not going to be my children.
Wow, that's interesting, because we both grew up the same way. There was 3 in our house as well. My brother and sister was 7 years younger than I. And so when I left Brooklyn and went into the military, they were babies still, somewhat. And so that relationship between us and them, but from the backdrop as the oldest child, I got to see a lot of what you're describing, with my mother, struggling, trying to, make sure that she can do everything that she could for us, because, like your mine didn't get any child support either.
Yeah. And it's a struggle. So when you grow up, you like, I made sure that I took the good and the bad from my father. Since he's not going to be, since he wasn't around, I'm going to be around. Since he didn't pay, I'm going to pay. So
did you ever try to, did he ever reconcile? Did he ever try to explain? Did he ever try, did you ever give him the chance to explain, or were you like, no need to explain?
No need to explain. You know what? I tell like men, like I say, I had to forgive my father. I had to forgive him, because like, how can I ask a man to teach me something that he didn't know how to do?
Right.
Like like, he never was taught how to be a father. He never had that father figure, like, to teach him how to be a father. So that's why he wasn't really that father figure. And I'm gonna ask a man like, yo, teach me how to be a father or a dad, when it wasn't in his toolbox.
Right. Yeah.
So I had to forgive him, because he didn't know. He didn't know. So
yeah, I saw a clip the other day of Jay-Z. I had never seen this clip before. He was being interviewed by Kevin Hart, and he was talking about like not knowing the other side of the story. And so when he finally met his dad, he said he had to take some time to put him into his dad's perspective. in order to be able to see him, right?
Mhm.
And because his dad went to prison, for murder, but when he
Right.
learned what for, he started telling the story about how folks would see him and how folks would see his mom. And when you grow up in the hood and you kind of understand circumstances, you begin to understand the story and you start thinking a little differently, about
Yeah.
him. With your relationship now, who do you think benefits the most, you or him, or is it equal?
Well, my father passed a few years ago,
I'm sorry to hear
and
that.
yeah, but even during the transition of him, the first time I heard my father tell me he loved me was on his deathbed.
Wow.
And all my life, that's all I wanted to hear. And God gave me that peace. He gave me that peace, even with him being there. So I was like, uh, we never had that conversation on like why didn't you like accept me? Like why didn't you like be there? Like as I became an adult and I started like getting into like theater and doing different things, he started coming around. Like he would show up to like some of the plays that I was in, and he would come out to like shows that I would do, like just how much he can make it. And that showing up even as an adult was kind of a, what, I gotta forgive. Because my
Mm.
mother was at everything. I could see her Jerry curl no matter where I was at on stage doing whatever. My mama was the loudest one in there, so I never had to worry about if a
Glistening, Jerry curl
yeah,
glistening.
I never had to worry about if a parent was there. So
Right.
I always had a parent present. My mama was present for everything. So my father, I just had to make sure if I was blessed to be a father, that I would do things differently. So
Yeah.
that, yeah.
How much of that encouraged you to move into the career you're in now? What made you what's the journey into you really looking at wanting to help families, wanting to help men? Like how much of that past is a part of your present?
It's a lot. I grew up, I always said, I was part of the poison growing up in my neighborhood, and I wanted to be the antidote.
Mm.
Like I wanted to be the antidote now. Like so
Mm.
I saw like the abusive relationships growing up in the projects, the drug addiction, people losing their children, like men ducking being fathers. You living in the same neighborhood, but you won't even speak to your children. Like
Mm.
all these things. And I'm like, yo, it has to be a way that we can heal these conversations and heal these relationships. So I said, you know what? Lord, if it's me, like make it happen. Like the Lord told me to become a therapist. The Lord told me to start youth groups. The Lord told me to go work in the youth prisons, go speak to the kids, like
Mhm.
all of these things. He said, I said, well, why me? He said, why not you? I
Right.
call unqualified. Like
Mhm.
you may think you unqualified, but you're the most qualified for this.
Right. Right. Yeah. Your life credentializes you.
Yeah, that lived experience. Like sometimes it ain't about the books; it's about the lived experience. Especially with these young people, they want to know that you lived some type of life that can relate to what they had, what they're going through now, and even hear
Mhm.
them. Even
Right.
hear them. Like being a therapist for men, and I'm like, yo, I've been a lot of things that men go through right now, especially
Mhm.
fathers. I know
Mhm.
what it means to have a bad relationships with a child's mother. I know what it means to lose a job. I know what it means to your kids not wanting to speak to you because they siding with mommy.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
like all of
Mhm.
these things that we go through, we gotta have somebody who we can talk to. And a lot of times we seek the wrong counsel. We think people we think we talk to people who've been through the same thing we've been through, and they give us bad information. Oh no, don't go to child support court, man. They're gonna take everything from you. Then when you don't go to child support, what they do? They come lock you up. You listening
Take
to this
everything
fool.
from you anyway.
They take your license, take your life, all that. And you like, wow, man, I should have just paid.
Right.
But we
Right.
we, we
Right.
got to make sure that when I started this journey, I didn't know where this journey would lead me.
Mhm.
I started the journey, and I left with my PhD from the streets, and I I I said, you know what, I see more for my life. So I decided to
Mhm.
go to school and get my bachelor's degree from Cheney University. And when I got my bachelor's degree, when I got out of school, it was like the first job that I can get with my bachelor's degree was like working as a TSS, so like a wraparound for these kids who had emotional problems. But every kid that they would give me, they were like, what are you doing with them? I'm like, I'm present. Like there's
Right.
not just a job, I'm present. So I became like a father figure to them. And that's all they wanted. Because most of them
Mhm.
didn't have any male father figures around them, around their life, around in their life. So I became that.
Mhm.
And next thing you
Yeah.
know, I started off as a social worker, and
Mhm.
that was more of a passion purpose for me because growing up in the projects, I was like, oh, I don't ever want to see nobody kids taken from them. If I
Mm.
can do so, I became the anti-DHS. So I became the person who made sure that you keep your children. Like if they
Right.
coming in saying you need new furniture, you need to pay your back bills, they need to go to the doctor. I'm setting all that up for your life.
Mm.
I'm getting everything
Nice.
straight for you and helping you with safety plans because it's like a lot of times we there's no handbook on how to live this life. And most of us
Right.
live just by off our experience, like what we see, what we learned, like, and sometimes this culture. So
Mhm.
so you had to have somebody who said, "Know what? I bring street knowledge and I bring book knowledge. Let me help you. Let me bridge the
Right.
gap for you and show you what it looks like."
Right. But
You
you
know.
also bring your heart in there too, right? You bring your heart in
Oh
there as well.
man, man, I got a heart of a servant, man. Like that's all I know, man. All I know is I want to help people, man. That blessing is going to come on the other side. Like this side, as long as I do
Mhm.
the work, my blessings on the other side. So I always lead with my heart, and people already know who my father is. Like my
Right.
father's Jesus Christ. Like that's who I live and serve. Like I don't. As long as
Mhm.
he okay with the things that I do, I'm gonna
Mhm.
continue to work, continue to grind, continue to be in these spaces where they say black men ain't supposed to be in here teaching parenting classes to young high school girls. Who said that? I'm a parent as well.
Right. Mhm.
I'm in these high schools teaching parenting classes to the high school students. I'm going back into the project homes that I lived in, teaching parenting and fatherhood to these places where normally they don't get those same services.
Right.
People
Right.
overlook them, but
Yeah.
a lot of times it's overlooked because of the fear. Who wants to
Yeah,
go in
yeah,
these
yeah.
places?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you can't help what you fear.
Yeah, yeah,
You literally cannot help what you fear.
yeah, yeah.
What is the adversity in your life that became your biggest power?
My adversity in life,
That turned
and
into your biggest power.
that turned into my biggest. Uh, Watching most of my loved ones that I grew up with, I had to bury them. I buried 10 of my closest friends before I was 17. So
Yeah.
and then when I was 21, I had to bury my big brother, from one of the most deadliest massacres in the city. And it just turned my life, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they had just dropped me off, and once they dropped me off, they turned the corner. I had a little part-time job. They dropped me off like 5 minutes away from my job is when they got killed. My
Mm.
older brother and two of my young fellas. But I kept asking myself, why wasn't I in that van? Like I had survivor's remorse. Like I should have been in that van, which was like, if you think about it, you're like, yo, that's idiotic, that's stupidity. But most people say, well, that meant they was following us the whole time. They could have been got us.
Mm. Wow.
But I said, God must have saved me for a reason. So now this is my reason why he saved me. He saved me so I can help save others.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's the turning point in my life.
Mhm. Yeah, there's always gotta be I've always said that, everything that happens in our life happens for a purpose, right?
Hmm.
Both the good things and the bad things. And unfortunately, some people have to carry more of the bad things than the good things. But the reason that you do have to carry that is because you were built to carry it,
Yeah. Took me a long
right?
time to realize that.
Because you got to come
Yeah.
through, right? That's the important piece
Yeah.
of it. You got to have the resilience to come through. What was the thing that you just kept saying to yourself? I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to fail.
You know what? Looking at my son, when I
Mm,
realized one day I was at a place where it was like where we was getting the most money, And I had my oldest son with me, and I heard the Lord tell me, like, he ain't gonna visit you in the grave or in prison.
Mm,
So I made that decision right then and that day, never to do this. Like, I walk away from that life at any
wow.
cost. And I
Wow.
walked away and never went back.
Wow. Yeah, you have to have that beacon in front of you that you keep striving to get to, right? And for many
Mhm.
men, um, it should be their children, right? It should be your
Yeah,
children that you're always striving to ensure that you are. I love you use the word available. I always tell people when they say, sometimes you go places, particularly father groups, they say, give me one word to describe a good dad. And I'm like, all kinds of things describe good people but
right,
that don't make them good, right? And
right,
so
right.
my thing is, what is the character trait that allows you to be the best dad you desire to be? And people say love, trust, those kinds of things. And my answer is always availability.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. My mind's availability and just present. Just you gotta
Yeah.
be present, man. Like I tell fathers all the time, man, the hardest part of growing up, you just gotta be present. It ain't all about the money. They'll be happy if you just make sandwiches with them and sit on the couch. Like
Uh-huh.
you don't need a bunch of money to be present. You can go to the park with them and play on the swings. They'll remember that more than you just buying them some sneakers that they gonna dog in the next
Right.
couple weeks, because boys is rough on sneakers. So like, girl, like, and they grow so fast. They grow
Yeah.
so fast. So these things they not gonna remember, but they gonna be like, remember that time we made sandwiches and stand on the. They'll remember that longer because of your presence.
Right. Yeah. And they remember things you don't remember,
Oh, not at
right?
all. Like yeah, they remember everything. They be like, you remember? I'm like, no, I'm
Right.
sorry. Bring it back to me.
Right.
Like, cause I'm a hoard. Like I got a hoarder of mind. Like I'm a hoarder of the mind, and people are because we hold so many memories in there. Like they all after a while they start getting cluttered and standing on top of each other. So like I try to take pictures. My wife makes me take a lot of pictures so we
Me too.
remember
Yeah.
moments. Like so
I'm
we
like
say
that.
remember. I'm like,
Yeah, I overload with pictures. It's just, just to tell that, story.
mhm.
We used to have a saying in the fatherhood space, particularly under our fatherhood gov work. The campaign was called Take a Moment to Be a Dad. And I've always taken that phrase and I've always said, never miss a minute because you might miss a moment.
That's
Right.
good.
You have
That's
to
good.
be there every minute because within that small minute, you can miss a moment if you're not there. And
Mhm.
so, and it's in that moment that sometimes we kind of overlook as insignificant. When our child is in that moment, they see it a totally different way. That's why they remember something that we don't. We think it's just part of we moving through our everyday life doing what we do, right? Being daddies,
Right.
being parents, kind of grinding through, right? And so even
Mhm.
if it's in the morning time sitting at the counter and you in the refrigerator asking them what kind of cereal do you want, and they're sitting there and you're making cereal, you think you're going through the motions.
Right.
5 years later, they're sitting in front of the auditorium talking about how their dad used to fix their breakfast, and you never
Mm.
thought that that was
Wow.
significant,
Wow. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's part of work, but that's what availability does. Like
Mhm.
it allows you to be able to function in the way that you function in their lives and press upon your children that my dad, my mom is available
That's
to
good.
me,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And I tell a lot of the fathers to go on the kids trips with them. Go like make
Yeah.
yourself available. Like I got friends now that they like, yo, I went on the zoo trip with my kids. I'm like, see, and they gonna remember that forever. Like those
Yes.
are the memories, and we got to make ourselves more involved in their education. We can't just be on the
Right.
outside letting mommy go up to the school all the time, and the only time daddy come up to the school is when it's time to be a disciplinarian. Like, no, it can't be that
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
got in trouble. So we got to make sure that we we like we make sure that we're there available, present, all of these things, because we don't want to not, I can't, like when I talk to the fathers, I'm like, how can you not want to be a part of their memories? Like you want to be a part of their memories. You don't want to be at the point where they grow up and they like you was never there. Like that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, but that's because they don't think
So
long
how do you
range.
fix
They
these
think so
things?
short range, right?
That's it. That's it. That's it. And they so selfish with what they think about. It's only about me, me, me. I'm like, no. The most important person in this relationship is the child. It's not who she's sleeping with. It's not who you sleeping with. It's
Right.
about that child. And when you realize that that is the most important thing in this relationship, not about like why y'all broke up, how no, you want both of y'all deserve to be in that child's life. Unless you don't deserve to be in that child's life because you don't know
Absolutely.
how you don't know how either one of you know how to conduct yourself. I'm all for like if you don't know how to conduct yourself, you don't need to be in that child's life.
Man, that's such true, man. That's a word right there, bro. That's a whole sermon.
Yeah,
You know, sometimes you don't belong where you think you belong.
you don't. You don't. And you trying, but no, you don't belong there. Like I thank
Yeah.
God sometimes that I wasn't raised with my father because some of the things, the traits that I would have picked up from him would have done me no good.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
glad like I was able to uh see other people's fathers interact with them. Like I
Right.
thank my brother Daryl Thomas, Mr. Bob, his father, it was the neighborhood father. He took us in. He made sure that we did other things outside of just running the streets. He
Right.
showed us what a father looked like treating his wife and treating his children. So we had an example,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
and that was a great thing in my life. Like I had Mr. Bob, like he was a great example. And then I had one of my uncles who took care of the whole family. Like he was the uncle of the whole family. So he
Right.
showed me how to maneuver as a man when you have to have all the eyes on you.
Yeah. It's amazing how those things kind of like stick with you, right? Like the men that were in our community for us, it was few and far in between. But for those
Mhm.
that did have at least some presence in the community, no matter what their vocation was or what their profession or what their hustle was, right? Because that's one of the other
Yeah,
things. Sometimes you got to see
yeah,
these
yeah,
men within their hustle, right? It wasn't a
yeah, yeah.
job. It wasn't a, wasn't a factory that you
Right.
saw them in. You saw them when they came home. I told somebody the other day, for a long time, I thought the trunk of your car was where you were supposed to sell goods from.
I believe that. What? Give me a good T-bone out of there. What? I need that.
Because I remember my uncle pulling up in front of the house, popping the trunk, and we would run in the building, mama, such is downstairs, and
Hmm.
go in the back, and she come downstairs, and they'd have dresses, shoes, jewelry,
Everything.
everything in the back of the trunk, and
Right. Right.
so it's amazing. We used to have also. I always tell this story. We had two pimps that lived in our building. But
Mm.
one of them lived on the first floor of our building, and his window was right at the entrance of our building coming in. And on in the
Hmm.
daytime, sometimes he would always be sitting in that window with that wrap around his head because he had that going up.
Yeah.
And he'd be smoking a cigarette, and he used to always call us young blood. He used to always say young blood.
Uh,
And I would come out, or our friends would come out and say, "Hey, Kenny, young blood, like come over here." And he would like have money rolled up. He's like, "Go around the corner and get me some what was he smoking? L&M's.
oh wow.
Them choker
Hey, I'm
cigarettes
about to
right there."
say them right there.
And we would run around the corner, we would get him, and we would come back. And he was like, keep the change, young blood, be safe out there.
Hmm.
But sometimes
Yeah.
he would come out because we would always kind of congregate in the hallways, in the hallway of our building, because we had these big walls, and we used to play Chinese handball and handball on these
Oh
walls
wow.
in the building.
Yeah.
And sometimes he would come out and just sit out and just, be with us. And I never gave that any thought growing up. like
Mm-hmm.
what his profession was, right? Because we
Right.
saw him with the big Eldorado and the
Mm-hmm.
fur around the rim and the flashy lights and the suit on Friday night and Saturday night and the and the parade of women who came in and out of his house. But
Mm-hmm.
we would always just like, want to be around him. And I remember one time he was sitting there and he just said, one of my friends said, um, I want to be like you. That's what he said. He's
Mm-hmm.
my friend, his name was Derek at the time. He says, I want to
Right.
be like you. And he said, nah, young blood. He's like, you don't want this. This life ain't for you. It's like, listen to
Mm-hmm.
your mama and get your education. Listen to your
That's it.
mama and get your education. But it was
Yeah.
amazing, right? And I've
Mm-hmm.
always, I could see him as clear as I'm looking at your face right now, sitting there on the stairs,
Wow.
telling us like to,
Yeah.
listen to your mama and stay in school. And then when I got
Yeah.
older and realized what he was and what he did, it hit me even harder because I'm like, this was a dude that was in a life.
Yeah.
Like, but he
Yeah.
still had a consciousness about young people that just
Mm-hmm.
saying you don't want my life. Like you don't want to, if you get this life, you get this life, but you definitely don't
Yeah.
want to ask for this life.
Yeah. That's not a life that you just want to walk into. Like it's those lives. Like we used to have our old heads, even though we used to hustle, they used to be like, no, y'all got to go to school. Y'all can't be out here during the daytime. That means you missing school. So they would
Right.
force us to get off the corners and go to school. I
Right.
see like this block will still be here when you get home, but go to school. So we had that the older our OGs, like the OGs back in the day, like you said, he said, listen to your mom. Like they like, yo, go to school. If your mom say you gotta go in the house, you gotta go in the house.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
nothing happens good after 8 o'clock. Like, they like once that sun go down, nothing good happens. Moms used to be like, you gotta be in before the street lights come on. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah.
so it's like nothing good happens after 8 o'clock. What you doing out here? Like,
Wow.
all right,
Yeah.
time for you to go in.
So listen, tell me about those Baxters.
Those
Because that's
Baxters,
a
man.
whole nother level of life, right? We talking about this
Yeah.
manhood father stuff, but something changes when we find that good thing, right?
Oh man, it changed my life so much, man, because when I met my life had just changed. I met my
Mm.
wife. We met in a play. So I had just changed my life. I I met this gentleman who like like blessed me in a chair turn within 5 minutes. Wrote me a check to go to Freedom Theater and take acting classes. Gave me a
Mhm.
different job, like working in the laboratories. Just changed my whole life. And when I went to Freedom Theater, they were having auditions for a play, Sparkle, and I auditioned and got in. The very first day of rehearsal, everybody was there, and all of a sudden, this beautiful lady walked in with this smile, and I heard the Lord again say, "That's your future wife." And I'm like,
Mm.
man, I don't know this lady, but she's gorgeous. Like, okay. I say that in front of the guys. They like, oh, you can't have her. She's a star. She this, that, and I'm like, y'all don't know me. Like, I don't know what y'all don't know what my pimp game about. Let me
Right,
do
right,
this.
right, right.
Let me do this. So little to say, 10 months later, they was in the pews watching us get married.
10 months later.
10
Wow.
months later. Now, 23 years later, marriage, we still together. I had my two sons before I got married, and then I had my two daughters. So I had a blended family. And one thing I prayed the Lord for, I said, let me allow me to raise children in my home 24 hours.
Mm.
And I promise I'll give them everything they need before they leave my home. And he gave me my two beautiful daughters. And my wife is she my rock. So those Baxters, it came about because we both were doing, after we got married, both started doing radio. But I was doing it at one station, she was doing it at another station. And then the
Mhm.
Lord told us, if we come together, I'll make you bigger than you ever dreamed. And I
Wow.
told her that, and she was like, he ain't say that to me. I'm like, oh my God. So so little no,
Hold
like
on,
it
before
took.
you go on, I tell you this. That's the same
Yeah.
thing I told my wife when she told me the Lord told her that I was gonna be her husband. I was like, well, until he tell me, it don't matter.
Right, right. And the good part about me and my wife, we like from two different worlds. I'm JJ from Good Times, and she's like she's like the daughter from the Huxtables. So so it's like these two worlds, these two worlds meet, and people like, how'd y'all meet? Like y'all two different spectrums, and I'm like, but we work. And my wife is a theater professor. She's like was the number one black actress in Philadelphia. She's on Radio One, all these great things she's did. She got a master's degree from the University of Arizona, a bachelor's from Temple University. So she had all these things going on for before we got married. So when I got married to her, I said, you know what, Lord, I gotta be a better man. So that's when I went back to school. Gotcha. I wanted to be better for her. Wow. I'm like, I don't want to just be sitting around taking ins and odd jobs. I was like, you know what? I got it. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get this job. I'm gonna finish my education, and so that I can be a better man for her. And Those Baxters, we've been doing syndicated radio for over 15 plus years. We've been blessed to be on all the major stations and covering the Stellar Awards, which is the Gospel Music Awards. We played some of the biggest artists before anybody ever knew them. We call them friends and family now. So, and after that, we started doing trainings. So since I worked as a social worker, one thing that I realized was that the trainings was horrible. Like sitting there and I'm like, these trainings are like, I'm not learning anything. Okay. Like you just putting people in front of me just so that you could say we had a training. So me and my wife came together and we was like, let's start developing trainings. So we started out doing after school programs and then build up from after school programs to start doing workforce development trainings. So we developed workforce development trainings. And we train teaching staff, we train corporate staff, like we go in and we do all the trainings, but we set it up to where we find out what's your need. Because a lot of times we just giving trainings just to give them, but no, what's the need of your employees? What do they need? Do they have bad communication? So we need to give them a communication. Is it a lot of conflict in it? So we need to give them a conflict. So those are the things that we did. And now the Lord told us going on 5 years now to leave Philadelphia and move to Atlanta. Okay. Like, so we packed up and we left and we moved to Atlanta. We didn't have a job here. We didn't have no jobs here. We didn't even have a place to live. We rented an Airbnb for a month and rented an SUV to get down here. And we was like, Lord, you told us to come here and you provide. 3 months before we was supposed to get out of the Airbnb, God gave us the home that we in. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. And I can say, I think the first month we was here, we went to a praise in the park for Radio One. And I was like, Lord, I don't know where I'm going to work at, but I said, I got all these skills. And in Philadelphia, I was running the fatherhood groups and I walked in and I saw FI. We had a 10 up and I was like, Lord, you must be called. Like, this gotta be. I said, this gotta be you, Lord. And I went over and I met the brothers there and I talked to the brothers and they was like, yeah, if something come about, like we'll definitely like give you a call, like if we get a spot. And I just stayed patient and the Lord blessed me to be a part of Fathers Incorporated, man. And it's just been a blessing to not my life, but my family and my wife's life. And moving from radio, we got an opportunity to start getting interviewed on WATC TV, Channel 57. And they later on, they asked us, they said, look, y'all want to host Atlanta Live? And we was like, sure. So for the last 3 years, I wanted the host of Atlanta Live on Channel 57. And this past year, they was like, well, what's up with y'all show? Y'all want to pitch a show? So we pitched the show. So now we have the living room with Those Baxters on Channel 57 that we own. Praise God, we own. And we just been moving on since that, like just letting God like use us and move us in a direction. I always say follow the current. Like you go with God's current, it's going to take you exactly where you go. When you try to backpedal and all that stuff,
yeah,
it don't work. You stay in the same spot.
Yeah, don't go.
I don't go against the current. I stay with the current.
Yeah.
With the current.
Man, that's incredible, sir. And one day, tell your wife, I got to get her on this podcast at some point too. I got to get her side of the story, about
Oh,
how she
yeah,
sees
yeah,
this work
that's
from her side.
great.
Because I know our guys love y'all. I mean, my guys, my staff loves you
Oh,
all. I haven't had the pleasure of sitting in on the
oh,
training
thank
yet, but I know y'all killing the game because I'm hearing about it, on the outside. And if
you.
God
Oh, thank you.
is going to do what God has told me He's going to do, your work with us is going to increase in very quick order by the end of this year, because we are
Amen.
beginning to move into the space around, particularly healthy relationships and marriage. But it is always going to be our focus that even in the context of that conversation, we are going to be focused on co-parenting. And so we understand the
Oh,
benefit of um, two parent households, and we get that. We get what the research says, but we can't
mhm.
dismiss the fact that marriage is not a destiny. Marriage is a journey, right? That you're always
Yes.
striving to get to. And so if you don't talk about it in that context, folks can begin to start
Mhm.
thinking, oh, you're just trying to get us hooked up. And when we start talking about this
Yeah,
younger generation, they're not trying to hear, any of that stuff. Like, my
not at all.
situation is good, bro. Like, I'm not trying to
Uh-huh.
mess it up by,
Right,
getting married.
right.
You are, and both of you are now doing some work with our dads, and I'm always interested in what you guys are seeing. I just interviewed Bo not a couple of weeks ago. So his
Yeah,
just
yeah.
listening to him and listening to what he's saying, because I haven't been on the ground in a while. I try to stay close to the ground and get in where I fit in every once in a while, but
Right, right.
the C-suite keeps me hopping. So,
Okay, I understand.
um, what are you seeing with these fathers today?
What I'm saying, want, they want knowledge. They want understanding. Like they want to be in these classes learning, and they
Mm,
want safe spaces where they see other men that want the same thing. Like what I love about my classes, like the fathers there, they break their necks to be there.
mm,
Like they want to be in the building. They want to learn. They want to ask questions because a lot of them they always tell me like we don't have anybody to ask these questions to. I'm like, well, you in a safe space, like ask the room full of men. Like, how do
right.
y'all feel about this? So now it's not just my point of view. You got other point of views, and sometimes you find out that you're not the only one that feels that way or think that way. And most of the time, we feel like we're on an island by ourselves until we can find a safe space where we can talk to other men. Because we grew up from the hood. Like if I ain't know you long enough, I don't trust you, so I ain't
Yeah, yeah,
saying too
yeah.
much around you. But
Mm-hmm.
when we create these safe spaces for them, a lot of times I gotta reel them back in. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, come on, we gotta stay on topic. Like I'll give you some time at the end so we can talk. But they're really hungry for information. Like
Mm,
I've never seen it in my life. Like they tell us that we don't want this information, we don't want knowledge, but that's not true. We want it. It's just we don't know where to exactly go and get it where we feel like we're safe to say how we feel because we don't
mhm.
want to feel uneducated. We don't want to feel like less than a person because I tell them all the time, like any room you go into, you belong in there.
Right.
Like you wouldn't have had the invite. You wouldn't have the invite. I said the only dumb question is the question you don't ask. So
Mm,
any question you got to ask it. Like if we know it, if we don't know it, we'll research it, come back the next day and say, look, this is what we came up with. If you don't have a job, it's brothers on here. Like a lot of times the brothers be like, I'm looking for work. I'm like, look, anybody know where a place that they can get employment, put it in the chat. Because you
mm,
gotta feel like I got a safety place. I got a place where if I need some help, I can call on my brothers and create the group chats and have them talk in the group chats. They wake up, good morning, brothers, sending inspirational things. It's just we need community. Like,
right.
we were taught, well, we weren't taught the systematic thing where the father was to get us out of the house and out of the neighborhoods. So we never
Mm,
had a group where that stuck around and you can balance your life off of. And I love the
mm,
fact that they want to come in and balance it. And some of them still come back to other classes. They like, yo, can I just be a part of the next group? I'm like, yeah, because they like, I'm used to being on here Tuesday and Thursdays. Like, I don't
mm,
feel right not having the group. I'm like, well, come on, jump on. and they jump
Right.
in and tell them like the importance of being present and being in a group and getting everything that FI offers. Like,
Right.
and it's just a wonderful feeling. And I'm like, oh, okay, I understand my purpose now, God. Like, what am
Mhm.
I doing in here? Because I always pray
Mhm.
about what's my purpose in here, making sure that I
Mhm.
give them the right things that they need.
Yeah.
So
What
yeah,
is it that it sounds like that they need the most? What's the thing that you always hear that's like, man, I wish I had more resources to solve this issue?
work, work,
Work.
work,
Yeah. Mm.
employment. Employment. Like that's it's hard for a man to be a man when he don't know when he ain't gonna get the next paycheck or next dollar.
Yeah.
So we as
Mhm.
men, we understand like if I don't know when I'm gonna get my next dollar or how I'm gonna pay anything, it's employment. So I would definitely say employment.
What's the biggest barrier though? Because from my vantage point, it looks like there's work everywhere. And so it sounds to me like it's not so much that they can't get work, it is the quality of work that they're trying to get after.
It's the quality of work they're trying to get after, but they don't even understand what skills they offer though, because they work so many
Ah,
ins and outs jobs. Like
right,
they don't have a resume. They don't even know what
right,
a resume looks like. They don't even
right,
know what jobs they qualify for.
right,
They like I don't e- they like if I can work at Dollar Tree, like stuff like that. I'm like, but you can go work in a hotel.
right.
You can go work, in inside an office. Like there are other things that you are capable of doing, and they like,
Right.
well, I didn't know. And then some of them, they have criminal backgrounds. Like so,
Right.
it's like my record. I'm like, a record don't. We all talk about records. Records don't stop you from doing a lot of things. You know,
Right. Right.
people think
Right.
because I said you just got to find out what you can do with your record. Once you figure that out, then you can move forward. But resume writing, just I'll say customer service skills, knowing how to talk to people, presentation, public speaking, all of these things would help our fathers out a lot. A lot of them
Yeah.
don't know how to speak in a public setting, so they get scared. I even say interviewing skills.
Okay. Okay.
Interviewing
Okay.
skills. These are all the things that I see that the fathers need. And
Mhm.
when I tell them, I say we got ladies that work with us, and I need when you contact them to be gentlemen and talk to them politely and respectfully,
Mhm. Mhm.
because some of them don't know how to talk to females.
I was going to ask you, like, so what does it look like in the relationship space? What's their biggest struggle when it comes to relationships? Sounds like it's communication.
It definitely is communication. We
Mm.
talk about a lot of soft skills that I try to teach them while we're in class for soft skills, like knowing how to react to when your child's mother says something that she want to push your button. Know
Mm.
how not to let your emotions, overtake you. We can't go from 0 to 100. I need for you to be able to be calm and hold your mind, because
Right.
that's what it
Right.
is.
Right.
So if you take back the remote control of your life, no matter what button she push, she won't get the results that she wants.
Mm.
So
Wow.
that's a lot. Like with the fathers, they're a great group. They just need a little extra.
Mm.
They need a
Little
little extra.
tender loving care and accountability. Right.
That's it. That's it. That
Right.
accountability is good, because once they get in these chat groups, they be on there
Mm.
with each other. Like, what's going on with you today? Okay, we ain't heard from you a couple days. How are you? Check in.
Right.
Like, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're
it's just
actually
really
working on a community Facebook group
okay.
for all of the Gentle Warrior Academy graduates to kind of get them to come into that space because they should all be of same mind. Like if you have
Yes,
not, if you're not a graduate, you can't come into the group. And
right.
so, and then put our rules in this way, it creates that network that you're talking about. So,
Mhm.
we've had over 600, and we've enrolled over 1,100 dads in the last 5 years,
Mhm.
but we've graduated close to 700. So you're talking
Wow,
about 700 dads in Metro Atlanta. That's a huge resource
that's
pool,
that's a
right?
huge one.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at ways to kind of really build that up to start that. by the end of the year so that we can kind of create their ecosystem so they can come in and find those resources and we can feed those resources into, right? And so even come in there and do like live trainings. Like I wrote down, like, are you work ready? I'm like, man, I could put that together right now. It'll be a short 3-series, training just for our dads. Come into your community group on Thursday night, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do this online. This training for you. Ask your questions. We respond to your questions and really kind of do that kind of like community, connect. So we should talk about that and some of the other pieces too, because, there are those, in our grants, this upcoming grant season, they've added on, the increased emphasis teaching our dads about early childhood development, child maltreatment, and stuff that you guys are doing.
Ages and stages.
Ages and stages stuff. And then there's this heavy emphasis on marriage and relationships. And there's a workforce component. So it's broadening a little bit and we're broadening with it. Having to kind of not change our curriculum, but shift it a little bit so that we can be able to meet, those requirements. And so at some point over the next, month or so, I'm going to be planning a two-day retreat somewhere for all of you, all the facilitators, everybody on the Forge staff to come in so that we can review all of our curriculum and begin to start talking about how do we revise it, because we haven't touched it and revised it in 5 years. And so it's now time to revise it before we walk into this next grant cycle. So,
all right.
If you had anything to tell a dad to encourage them to join Gentle Warriors Academy who's sitting on the fence, what would you tell them?
I say, if you're looking for a community to join and you feel like you're alone, Fathers Incorporated is the best place to come, man. You create a fatherhood, brotherhood, and you find out the information that's important to you, man. How a lot of us don't have the tools in our tool belt to be fathers, but here you learn tools that are necessary for you to become a productive father. How about that? Being a productive and a present father.
Okay. Man, thank you so much, Juan. I appreciate you. I appreciate the work that you bring.
I appreciate you.
We're going to continue this. I think the work that we're doing is going to eventually impact this city beyond measure. And this city will impact other cities in the same way. And so I truly believe that. I truly believe that this work that we're doing is going to be transformational for this community. It just has to catch up with itself. We have to keep planting seeds and keep planting seeds until it catches up with itself. And so
I love it.
Yeah. And to all of my I Am Dad podcast listeners, thanks for joining us. You know how I like to leave you. Always be kind to others as you're kind to yourself, or you might find yourself by yourself. Always shoot high for your goals, because even if you miss, you'll be amongst the stars. And as my good friend Art Mitchell and mentor used to always say to me, Kenny, it's nice to be important, but you know what? It's much more important to be nice. Until next Sunday, keep safe. God bless and peace out.
Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us. You've been listening to I Am Dad podcast. We hope that you have been informed, encouraged you to think, or even inspired your heart for the love of dads. The conversation does not end here. Come back and join us next week. Same time, same place. Or you can continue the dialogue on our I Am Dad Facebook page. We also invite you to listen to past episodes, learn more about us, and keep up with special activities by visiting IamDadPodcast.com. That's IamDadPodcast.com. Until next time, I leave you with this reminder of manhood from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Because of this reminder, I will always understand that I am Dad, period.
Yeah, you know what it is. Everything I do, I do it big. Yeah, screaming.